Good evening, everyone. I hope we are having a great day today. Do. Charge. Waiting for people to jump into the live stream. Gemma and Bonnie are here. Notifications should be rolling out. You're exhausted? I'm sorry, sweetheart. Rycart. Good evening, Rycart. Whoever you are in America, welcome to tonight's trivia. Kitty Q, Tom Baker, good evening. I hope we all had a great weekend. Which cold case? Different ones, Tom. Not just one case. I put the poll question out on what would everybody like to see in the future. The same one that you said you did not want to see any more on, was it Charles Manson? I think it was one of the options you said you didn't want to see any more on. But that poll, and the question was, the possible answer was cold cases, unsolved cold cases. So every one of the questions tonight are on cold cases, murders that have not been solved. You're in Odessa, Texas? I've been through Odessa. Haven't stayed there. Seems like a pretty nice place. I got to get back to Texas, though. I got some really good friends who live down in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I like it there. I don't think I'd ever live there, but I like it there. The climate and the surroundings, topographical, it's pretty much like where I am here. It's not much difference. I mean, they have more cactus there than we do. We got a lot more sagebrush here. We have little tiny cactuses to grow here. We don't have the big saguaros, saguaro cactuses. Good evening, Kitty Q, and remember, everyone, to be on all messages or live messages, not top chat. That is a very good point, as you will see the messages, comments as they come through in the comment section. Give it another minute here, and then we'll get this party started. But this is the 383rd edition. 383. That's how long I've been doing this. 383 episodes. Oh, am I, Gemma? I'm doing good. I spent most of the day. That's why I didn't, to answer Bonnie's question. Why didn't I get to the pumpkin today? I got to cut up. I got to peel the pumpkins peeled and cut up, and then I put them in a big, huge stock pot full of water, and then put that in the backup refrigerator. I didn't get to that because I got cleaning. But I'm doing well, Gemma. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. All right, let's get tonight's trivia going. This is the 383rd episode of Trivia. Warning, this trivia night strictly adheres to factual evidence verified by the FBI, DOJ, Interpol, and Scotland Yard when needed. Along with court records and transcripts from trials, it does not include conspiracy theories, speculation, or unverified claims about what may have happened. If you are seeking sensationalism or content related to similar theories or lies spread by those who can't be bothered to do the research on a topic, this event and topic may not be right for you. What do I do with them? I dry them. I dry the pumpkin seeds, Kitty Coo. My daughter likes to eat them. Again, there is no additional research. All the information, on tonight's trivia comes from the Department of Justice, the FBI, and that is it. I didn't use any additional outside sources. If you are watching this on a cell phone or on a tablet, turn it to the horizontal setting just by turning it, and you may have to tap, an icon in the lower corner. But all of the content is made to be displayed on a horizontal setting. Cold case, unsolved murders from across the United States from 1960 to 2017, as voted on by you, the viewers, in the community poll. Thank you. That is the trivia that we are looking at tonight. All 20 questions are on cold case murders that are unsolved from 1960 to 2017. Without further delay, let's get ready to rumble on some trivia. Question number 1 is now on your screen. Which state is home to the unsolved 1946 Moonlight Murders? And I know the trivia is broken down from 1960 to 2017 because there is a murder that happened in 1960 that they have now connected to the Moonlight Murders. So, but the first case was from 1946. Is it A, Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas, Arkansas, C, California, Oregon, or D, Mississippi, Florida? I'm adjusting how big I am on the screen there. There we go. But again, the first case from the Moonlight Murders took place in 1946, and another one was connected in 2019 to the Moonlight Murders from 1960. Good evening, Sweet Universe. Kitty Q, D, no clue. No clue at all. Sal, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia, and Sweet Universe again. Welcome both of you to tonight's trivia. I hope you both had a terrific week and weekend. Question number 1. Reichardt goes with Texarkana. The correct answer is B as in boy, Texarkana, Texas, Arkansas. The first murder took place in 1946. And again, they connected another one later on from 1960 to the same case. Question number 2. The 1947 murder of Elizabeth Short is better known by what nickname? Again, there's another connection to another older one that took place years later. Same thing, but still it falls in the parameters because even if the case took place before 1961, there's a connection to another one afterwards. Elizabeth Smart is better known by what nickname? Is it A, the Silver Siren Murder, B, the Black Orchid Murder, C, the Red Orchid Murder, or D, the Black Dahlia murder? That's a lot later, 1960. The Black Dahlia murder is connected to other murders throughout, though a potential serial killer, such as the Cleveland Torso murderer. The Cleveland Torso murderer is how it is connected to a later case. If you know who the Cleveland Torso murderer is, he was connected to the murder of Elizabeth Short in 1947. That's how it falls into tonight's category of trivia from 1961 to 2017 or whatever, 19 or whatever. These are the only ones that are earlier on. After this, there's no more ones that are connected to older cases. Good evening, Purple. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Be careful, though, Purple. You never know who's going to be standing next to you next, and you never know who's going to be knocking on your door. I never forget that. Because it's true. All right, question number 2. The correct answer is D, as in dog, the Black Dahlia. Question number 3. The disappearance and presumed murder of Jimmy Hoffa occurred near which city? Was it A, Las Vegas, Nevada, B, Jersey City, New Jersey, C, Detroit, Michigan, or D, Cleveland, Ohio? Question number 3 of 20. The disappearance and presumed murder of Jimmy Hoffa. His body has never been found. There have been multiple different people who've come forward over the years saying that they were there when he was shot to death in a house, or he was shot to death or in the trunk of a car. He was buried in the end zone of the Jet Stadium. He was buried behind a house next to a garage. There's been multiple different people who've come forward with different stories over the years, but no one knows what really happened to Jimmy Hoffa. Tonight's trivia, I am drinking Liquid Death again, squeezed to death. Liquid Death. Good stuff. Kitty Kid's going with A? Question mark. Rackard's going with A as well. We got Bonnie, Gemma, Purple, Sweet Universe, and Ivory Lady. Good evening, Ivory Lady. Are all going with C. Philip Seymour Hoffman. Hoffa. The answer to question number 3 is C, as in cat. Detroit, Michigan was the last known location of Jimmy Hoffa. He was at a restaurant. The last final place that he was seen alive was at a restaurant. Obviously, it was connected to the mob too, but the last place he was seen alive was at a restaurant in Detroit, Michigan. Question number 4. The murder of the 3 members of the Walker family are believed to be connected to which famous other murder case? Is it A, the Cutter murders, B, the Manson murders, C, the Zodiac murders, or D, the Atlanta child murderers? Question number 4 of 20. The murders of the 3 members of the Walker family are believed to be connected to which famous other murder case? All 4 of the Jimmy Hoffa ones are possible. That's true. I mean, I guess anything. They could have kidnapped him and taken him anywhere. But the last place he was seen alive was in Detroit, Michigan. If the mob or the union or whoever the hell he pissed off really wanted him dead, they would have killed him somewhere in Detroit, taken him to a warehouse someplace and offed him or whatever they did. Did they take him to a house and shoot him in the living room of this house? I don't know. The cookie cutter. Hey y'all, hear about the girl from Slender. A stabbing is on the run. The stabbing is on the run. The stabber is on the run. No. I hear Slender. I think of Slender Man. Question number 4. The correct answer is A as in apple, the Cutter murders. The murder of the 3 members of the Walker family all have the same MO. The method, and everything comes down to it. It almost matches exactly to the Cutter murders. Question number 5. Which U.S. national park was the site of the unsolved Tent Girl murders? Was it A, Yosemite, B, Yellowstone, C, Smoky Mountains, or D, Cascade? Question number 5 of 20. Which U.S. national park was the site of the unsolved Tent Girl murders? She cut off her ankle bracelet and took off. The Slender Man stabbed. The Slender. If you've never read about the Slender Man murders, where the little girl, well, I can't remember how old she was when she murdered her friend because she believed that the Slender Man, she had to do it for the Slender Man. You should really read up on that one. That's a messed up case. She cut off her ankle bracelet and took off. Wow. Question number 5. Which U.S. national park was the site of the unsolved Tent Girl murders? The correct answer is C as in cat, the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. I think David Wu, that's David Wu's YouTube channel. I think that he did it. Adventures with Purpose. If you want to watch a video on the Tent Girl murders, I know Adventures with Purpose. I've done it, unfortunately. But David Wu definitely went to the actual location. There's another case, where the Adventures with Pervert, went to the nearby river to where this was. But the Great Smoky Mountains, you can type in Tent Girl murders on YouTube and you probably come up with at least a half dozen, if not more, people who've gone to the actual location where the tent camp used to be, Girl Scout camp, summer camp. Question number 6. The disappearance and presumed murder of nurse Donna Lass is often connected to which serial killer? Is it A, the Zodiac, B, the BTK, C, the Golden State Killer, or D, the Son of Sam? Question number 6 of 20. The disappearance and presumed murder of nurse Donna Lass is often connected to which serial killer? Why is it presumed murder of Donna Lass? because someone had done an awful lot of, let's just say, they try to make it look like Donna Lass was alive and just moved away of her own accord. All of that evidence turned up to be false. I don't want to say it was 4chan, but it was a channel kind of like that took real stories of people who disappeared and are most likely murdered, and they came up with these giant, lies around, the case itself. But they try to make it look like Donna Lass had moved away on her own accord. That's how the narrative of their podcast, video, whatever you want to call it, was. I don't even know if they're even on YouTube anymore. I think they're still on Facebook. I'm not going to bother to mention their name, but they've been around for a long time, and I think they have like 340,000, followers, subscribers. A lot of people out there like that. They'll blow smoke up your ass in a heartbeat and pass it on and tell you that it's a diamond. Question number 6. The correct answer is A as in apple. Donna Lass was most likely one of the victims of the Zodiac killer, or is at the very least is often connected to the Zodiac killer. Question number 7. The murder of 12-year-old Jolene Matthews took place in which U.S. state? Is it A, California, B, Colorado, C, Wyoming, or D, Utah? And one last thing about the last question about Donna Lass. In 2023, they found bones that forensically do not come back 100% to Donna Lass, but could be the bones of somebody that was related to Donna Lass. So the case is still unsolved, and according to the FBI, her body has never been recovered. I think it was like a 70-some% match because the bones were very degraded at that point. Right, A, of course. It's obviously California. The murder of 12-year-old Jolene Matthews took place in which state? Question number 7. The answer to question number 7 is B as in boy. B, Colorado. 12-year-old Jolene Matthews was murdered in Colorado. Question number 8. The Connecticut Valley Killer series included how many likely victims? Was it A, 3, B, 7, D, 10, or D, 15? He never does that any other time. Gianna Marie, good evening. Who doesn't do what? I hope you had a great week and weekend, Gianna Marie. I'm glad you could be here with us tonight. Let's scroll up. My cat is here again. I think he likes Will's voice. Aw. Well, my cats love me. Question number 8 of 20. How many victims are there, likely victims are there of the Connecticut Valley killer? Do, 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 do. Kitty Kid's going with B? Question mark? I don't know. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. Question number 8. The correct answer is B. 7. There are 7 likely victims to the Connecticut Valley murder killer. Okay, now when it comes to the Connecticut Valley murder killer, all right, there are 7 most likely victims, but there may be 9 total because there are still 2 that were considered runaways that may have been a victim of the Connecticut Valley killer. So I purposely did not put 9 in there in case you have read up on the Connecticut Valley murder and you connected those 2 additional to it. But it is 7 are the likely number of actual victims because they cannot confirm the runaways because they could have ran away and they just could have been, they could be anywhere in this world. Question number 9. In 1988, the murder of Retha Welch, found murdered in her local church, included which unusual detail? Was it A, she was naked, B, she had no pants, C, her new shoes were missing, or D, she had socks on her hands? Question number 9 of 20. The 1988 murder of Retha Welch, found murdered in her local church, included which unusual detail? And these are all unsolved. Yes, they are. He's just off to your left, my left. I don't have any of my cats in here with me tonight. That's a good thing, right? So they won't see my cat. Otherwise, it'll be cat staring at cat. Kitty Kid's going with D? Question mark? Question number 9. 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. Alrighty, the answer to question number 9 is C as in cat. According to the forensics file on the murder of Retha Welch, there are 2 sets of footprints of one of the little girl, Retha Welch, and another individual. We don't know if it's man or female, but there are 2 sets of footprints walking through the grass and dirt, then up the stairs into the church where she was found murdered. Her shoes were gone. She had just gotten the shoes. She grew up extremely poor, okay? So this was like her prized possession probably at this point in her life. But her shoes were gone. Why did the murderer take her shoes? That was in 1988 and still unsolved to this day. According to the police department file, they had 6 individuals of interest. They called 3 of those 6 in for interviews and released every single one of them. They either had an alibi or they had, weren't in town or something else, some reason why they didn't, press forward on those 3 of the 6. But unsolved. Question number 10. The disappearance and murder of Amber Hagerman inspired what program that 27 states fought to never have to adopt? Was it A, the Child ID system, B, Missing Angels Project, C, the Amber Alert system, or D, the SRFK, Safe Route for Kids? Question number 10 of 20. The disappearance and murder of Amber Hagerman inspired what program that 27 states fought to never have to adopt? Question number 10. Tonight, instead of a CDs back here, I've got America's Serial Killers, Portraits in Evil. Got Jack the Ripper, H.H. Holmes, Albert Fish, the Boston Strangler, the Zodiac, John Wayne Gacy, the Hillside Strangler, and Beltway Sniper, the Highway 99 Killer, the Gainesville Ripper, the Unabomber, Green River Killer, BTK, Night Stalker, and Jeffrey Dahmer are all covered in this DVD box set. This is one of several that I own. I own this one and an A&E one that's got, I think, 4 discs or 6 discs in that one. But question number 10, the correct answer is C as in cat, the Amber Alert system. 27 states fought to not have to adopt the Amber Alert system because they all believed that it'd be too costly. It would spread panic within their communities, and that they did a good enough job finding missing children the way it was. When the fact is, they weren't. But 27 states fought to adopt it. Break time for me. I'm going to eat because I'm hungry. As Reichart pointed out, it is break time for everyone. For the next 7 minutes, take time and do what you do. Shotgun beers, drink a 5th of whiskey, smoke a giant bowl of whatever, hash or weed or whatever the hell you want to do. You do you for the next 7 minutes. While we are on break, I'm going to cover 2 cases of missing and endangered individuals from across the United States. I am working with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the Charlie Project, FBI, along with NamUs and state and local law enforcement agencies to help identify these cases and put a spotlight on them. Together, we aim to shine a light on these cases and support the families impacted and keep these stories alive in hopes of bringing a resolution. Don't forget that J.C. Dugard was missing for 18 years before she was eventually found alive. Hope is real. In America, approximately 600,000 people are reported missing every single year. Of that 600,000, 90% are found within a short period. 90% are found within a short period of time, within 90 days. That still leaves 172,000 to 174,000 that are not found every single year. Those are the cases that I'm focusing on here, not the people who ran away and decided to do whatever and that they'll eventually be found or have been found since then. The missing poster you see on your right is of April Dawn Andrews, a real missing person. Be on the lookout for her in Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, and Missouri. She is very much alive. She ran away from home as a teenager because she believed that she was too much of a burden on her family. And all her family wants at this point is just to know she is alive and well. If you know anything about where she might be, and that is an age progressed photo of what she may look like today. Her hair color could be long or short. She could be wearing reading glasses, but that's approximately what she would look like. If you know anything, you can call 479 451 8220. Our first missing case tonight is of Patricia Lee Hess. She was 34 years of age when she vanished. She is a Caucasian female, last seen on 11/9 of 1981 in Rutland, Virginia. She is 5'1", 110 to 115 pounds, with blue eyes and natural blonde hair. No tattoos or scars or medical condition. Unfortunately, when it comes to the Patricia Lee Hess, this is the only photo that is known of her. She did not have a driver's license at the time, but she drove anyways. She owned a car at the time that she disappeared. This photo that you will see is the only known photo of her and is from years before when she was in high school. 16 years to be exact beforehand, and it's the only known photo of her. Little details about her life or details of her vanishing are known. Well, what could help authorities locate her? Did you live in the authorities want to know is if you lived in the Rutland, Virginia area between January and April of 1981. Do you recall a man locals called Big Tim? He drove a red Dodge pickup truck. Do you recall where he lived, where he worked, hanged out, or what his last name possibly may be? He is a person of interest in the disappearance of her, but no one could. He disappeared right around the same time, within like a couple of days of her Patricia disappearing. If you know anything about what happened to her, or you know anything about Big Tim, and you lived in the Rutland, Virginia area, you can call 802-773-1816. You cannot remain anonymous by leaving a tip with that number. That is a direct line to the sheriff's department. Our next missing person is Jill Diana Parker. Her maiden name is McBride. She was 46 years of age when she vanished. She is a Caucasian female. When was she last seen? Good question. Maybe 2020. She vanished from? Again, good question. No one knows. Again, just like the last lady, she is 5'1", 110 to 115 pounds, blue eyes with blonde graying hair. The photo on the right is her most recent photo from her driver's license. She has no known scars or tattoos and no known medical conditions. Parker disappeared from Steamboat Springs, Colorado on August 7th of 2020. She was driving a gray 2019 Toyota Celica with Utah license plate 2G3SN. The car was eventually discovered in a local Walmart parking lot, but vanished before it could be towed. It clearly had been in the same spot for several weeks, according to the video footage of the actual parking lot itself at the Walmart. It can be seen over to where the would be the garden center entrance of the Walmart. Did she remove it? Did someone steal it? All they know for sure is that authorities are saying is it was there, and before it could be towed as evidence, it vanished. The police encountered her later in 2020 during a traffic stop in Lynn, Washington, as Washington State, not DC, area on November 19th. So again, she vanished from Steamboat Springs, Colorado in August, and then appeared in Lynn, Washington on November 19th, 3 months later. She was not, however, been in contact with her family, and both they and authorities would like to verify her well-being. Unified Utah police are investigating, as is the Washington State Patrol and the Lynn Police Department. The chances are very good that Jill moved away from her sister, who she had control issues with. The Unified Utah Police just want to know she is all right. She is an avid true crime, content fan, and if you're watching this, Jill, all you need to do is call that number and tell them some identifying information like your driver's license number, and tell them that you're okay, and they will take you off the national database for missing and endangered. Because lots of people from Lynn, your sister, your family, your friends, and everybody else is still looking for you. Even though it's been 5 years, they haven't given up hope that you're alive and well. All you got to do, again, is just pick up the phone and call that number. It's on the screen, which is 385-468-9798. And again, Jill, if you call, all you have to do is have your driver's license handy and read off your driver's license number to them to verify that the call is coming from you. And they will, again, remove you, and you can go on with your life and do whatever you want. You don't have to tell them where you are, what you've been doing for the last 5 years, nothing. Break time is not over with yet. You still have time left before we start the second half of trivia. You have 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. 2 minutes and 40 seconds. So shotgun that beer quickly. Whatever you're doing, go ahead and do it. You're running out of time. You have exactly 2 minutes left. 2 minutes. There are people that disappear for lots of different reasons, as we've covered before. Either they just don't like the life that they're living, the people around them. They don't like their jobs. They're underwater on their house. They owe more on their house than they could ever get for it. Their job sucks. They fall in love with someone on the internet. There's a million different reasons why. They just move away, they change their name, and just go about their lives. It happens a lot more than you think it does. People reinvent themselves. You now have 1 minute. 1 minute left. One minute of your break time left. And then we'll get back to the second half of trivia. Oh, did they go watch the Tennessee Titans play the Seattle Seahawks? Kitty Coo? Sorry. But I mean, I hope they enjoyed the game either way. If it's the first time they ever been to it, because the Seattle Seahawks played Tennessee Titans in Tennessee today. And we are back from our break. Again, it is free to subscribe. Click that subscribe button so you'll be that way you can be notified when the next trivia night and everything is. And without further delay, let's get back to our normal programming. Question number 11 is now on your screen. The 1991 murder of Denise Johnson took place in which coastal area? Was it A, the Jersey Shore, New Jersey, B, Cape Cod, Massachusetts, C, Gulf Shores, Alabama, or D, the Outer Banks, North Carolina? Well, then they would have had a lot of fun. The Seahawks won 30-24. I actually watched the game. The 1991 murder of Denise Johnson took place in which coastal area? Question number 11 of 20. Mine is going with D. Charge. Purple going with D as well. Gianna Marie and Kirikou are all going with D. 1991 murder of Denise Johnson took place in which? The Cowboys just beat the Eagles. That must have been a heck of a turnaround. Because they were getting their butts, the Cowboys were getting their butts whipped earlier. Last time I checked in on the score, it was there. I think they were up 21-3, something like that. The answer to question number 11 is C as in cat, the Gulf Shores of Alabama. I'm just listening as I'm exhausted after having to put on a persona that's not me. I am sorry. Question number 12. The 1994 murder of Hollywood publicist Ronnie Chasen involved which weapon? Was it A, an axe, B, a knife, C, a shotgun, or D, a 38 caliber revolver? Question number 12 of 20. The 1994 brutal murder of Hollywood publicist Ronnie Chasen involved which weapon? We are still on question 12. There appears to have been some type of delay with the chat. I have no idea why. We're still on question 12. I haven't moved on. But I just got a message that said that chat is slow. I have no idea what the hell that means. I didn't put it on slow. Nah, must be D, says Bonnie. I don't know why, what's going on there. I mean, the connection's perfect. It just said that the chat was slow. Don't know. Oh, well. Question number 12. The correct answer is D as in dog. 38 caliber revolver. 38 caliber revolver. Question number 13. Cold case disappearance and murder of Tiffany Sessions occurred in which Florida city? Was it A, Gainesville, B, Tampa, C, Miami, D, Orlando? Maybe they should hit 2 times the speed. We're slow, says Bonnie. I just paused. I was like, I'm trying to figure out what the hell that meant. I just got a message across like the chat board itself where I type in chat. It says, chat is slow. I have no idea what that means. Does it mean that not enough people are chatting and it's going slow, or it's not working correctly and it's slow? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. As my son would say, I don't know. Do you know who ate all the Oreos? I don't know. Do you know who got the milk out and left it on the counter? I don't know. That's my son's answer. I don't know. Cold case disappearance and murder of Tiffany Sessions occurred in which Florida city? Question number 13 of 20. Gianna Marie is going with C. Kitty Q, Purple, Body, and Sweet Universe are all going with A. YouTube thinks we're slow. I guess. I don't know. I don't use YouTube for live streaming. I'm streaming to YouTube. I use my own streaming software. I hit 2 times the speed every 3 questions. We type slow and we talk slow, I guess. It means that Chad Daybell is slow with his slow books. Question number 13. The correct answer is A as in apple. Tiffany Sessions was murdered in Gainesville, Florida. Gainesville, Florida. And that case is still unsolved and open. Question number 14. The cold case of 3 women murdered at the University of Chicago Robbie House is known as what? Is known as A, the Chicago Killing House, B, the Robbie House murders, C, the Robbie slasher deaths, or D, the Hyde Park tragedies? Question number 14 of 20. The cold case of 3 women murdered at the University of Chicago Robbie House is known as what? He's super handsome, Sweet Universe. He has certain things that he says that sometimes it's just like, okay. Yesterday I took him grocery shopping and he goes like, why do we buy the store? Buy store, he says. I said, you want me to buy something at the store? No, buy the store. I'm like, oh, okay. I got that kind of money. I'll just buy the grocery store. That way I don't have to go to it, right? I mean, it's got everything that he wants in it. Toys, food, and everything else. Question number 14. The cold case of 3 women murdered at the Robbie House in Chicago is known as what? The correct answer is B as in boy, the Robbie House murders. In case you're wondering, the Robbie House murders have all a long time they have been speculated to be murders that Ted Bundy may have committed. I don't know about that, but a lot of people make the connection in true crime channels that the Robbie House murders were connected to Ted Bundy. Question number 15. 2 confessions all proved to be false. Where did the 1971 murder of Marcia Trimble happen? Was it A, Memphis, Tennessee, B, Chicago, Illinois, C, Nashville, Tennessee, or D, Boston, Massachusetts? Question number 15 of 20. 2 confessions all proven to be false. Where did the 1971 murder of Marcia Trimble happen? Question number 15. Got 5 more left, plus the bonus. Which one is it? Kittico, Bonnie, and Pepper are all going with C. Nashville, Tennessee. Gianna Marie is going with C and Sweet Universe as well. 2 confessions all proven to be false. The murder actually took place in C as in cat, Nashville, Tennessee. The 2 confessions. One was a confession by a man who was on death row, who said that he killed Marcia Trimble, and he said that he did it closer to another town, but not in Nashville. The second one was a letter that originally was received anonymously by law enforcement, who said that they were with the person, not the actual killer, but they were with the person who killed her. And that when they tracked that letter down, it turned out that it was just a lonely old guy sitting in his house who had written confession letters to multiple different murders and different crimes across the United States. And obviously it was false. But both confessions were false. Question number 16. Ghost story. The actual murder of Barbara Bates inspired what folklore urban legend? Was it A, the babysitter, B, the hook, C, the hitchhiker, or D, killer in backseat? The kitty cat's trying to argue with me. Meow, 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 meow. Question number 16 of 20. Ghost story. The actual murder of Barbara Bates inspired what folklore urban legend? It's just incredible how people do that. Confess to murder. Right? I mean, there are people who are, they're on death row and they're going to die anyways. So why not confess to additional murders? You know, if you can possibly get someone else off of death row, or, get them to, yeah, give me your file. Give me all the information on it. I'll memorize it and they'll give it back to you. And then they confess to it. Yeah, I killed those people. It was me. And then they tell law enforcement, details about that's not in the case that they know about. It happens all the time. And then law enforcement has to sift through the entire thing to find the real story. A, that babysitter movie was scary, says Reichart. Gianna Marie is going with C. Kittyka's going with D? Question mark? I don't know. Question number 16 of 20. The correct answer is C as in cat. The hitchhiker. Barbara Bates, the actual murder of Barbara Bates inspired the folklore urban legend of the hitchhiker. Lonely woman driving down a country road and picks up a hitchhiker because you want to do something for somebody else because their car broke down. There's different variations to the story that have been told over the years. And it turns out that the person they picked up is a serial killer and they kill them. And then there's the joke, that goes along with that. If, a person picks up a hitchhiker and then the passenger says, "Hey, how did you know that I wasn't a serial killer?" to the driver. And the driver then turns to the passenger and says, "What are the odds of two serial killers being in the same car at the same time?" That's the joke version of it that goes off of that. All right, question number 17. The 1974 murder of Carla Walker matched almost exactly to another murder in 1997 in which state? Was it A, Texas, B, Oklahoma, C, Washington State, or D, Florida? Question number 17 of 20. The 1974 murder of Carla Walker matched almost exactly to another murder in 1997 in what state? I mean, what are the odds, right? A serial killer picks up a hitchhiker because their car broke down. What are the odds of two of them being in the same car at the same time? It's actually happened more than we know of. We know of probably about a handful of serial killers who had partners, and in each and every one of those cases where there's a serial killer working with another individual, one of them is the dominant and the other one is very submissive to the dominant person in that group, party, relationship, whatever you want to call it. But it's happened in the past. Some were a little more famous than others, but one that comes to mind is Ning. But it's happened. Two serial killers working together. I couldn't imagine it at all. Then again, I wouldn't hitchhike. I wonder what since a lot of people don't hitchhike anymore or jump rail, ride on box cars and stuff like that. I wonder just how much since all that has taken place. What how much has murder, serial killers has that taken away? And then lights at truck stops, more identification, background checks for people who travel long haul. Not just truck drivers, but maybe they're salesmen. The world's changed. I wonder how much that's taken away their possible victims. Question number 17. The correct answer is A as in apple. And unfortunately, for this question, I did not write down the name of that murder from 1997. But the murder of Carla Walker in 1974 matched almost exactly to one in 1997 in Texas. Question number 18. $2.07 is what it cost to buy the key evidence of this murder at a Goodwill store in 2001. What key evidence was purchased in what murder case for $2.07 from a Goodwill store? Was it A, the murder of Michelle Mintinko murder, B, Carla Stevenson murder, C, Janet Rapids murder, or D, Lita Sullivan murder? Yes, the key piece of evidence that could have solved the case back when it happened was purchased at a Goodwill store for $2.07. Your uncle used to ride boxcars and scared the H out of you? I used to do it as a kid. No joke. In upper Minnesota, we used to, me and my uncles, we'd all jump into a boxcar, because if you walked out my grandmother's house and then through the backyard, then there was an alleyway there, then there was a ditch, and then there was the train tracks. And the train always stopped there because it looped around like this, like a U, and there was a train trestle that went up and down, so they had to stop so they could lower and close the actual trestle itself. And so the train would be right there, and we just walk out the backyard, across the alley, down the ditch, and jump up into a boxcar. And we would ride it from Little Falls, Minnesota, all the way up to either Bemidji, or we ride it to International Falls. We knew where the trains were going, and then it would stop at the rail yard there, and then we'd just all jump out and go see our grandparents. Did it all the time. I really could not quantify how many. More than 50 times, at least, if probably closer to 70. And then we would do just a reverse. It was cheaper and easier than getting someone to drive us there and having to pay for gas. Did it all the time. Question number 18. The correct answer is A as in apple. Michelle Mintinko's murder. The key evidence that was purchased at a Goodwill store in 2001 for $2.07 was a small little like clutch purse, coin purse thing that was embroidered with little tiny beads on it that had her actual initials on it. And it may have at one point had evidence, DNA from the murderer on it, but that thing, she carried it everywhere across her chest, this little purse thing on a strap. And she always had it with her, and it was not found with her, remains. And then it turned up at a Goodwill store, and the person who purchased it at Goodwill for $2.07 was an eBay seller. And he wanted to sell it on eBay, and it photographed it, and then it I guess there was like some kind of an internet hit, or somebody saw it, the photos of it, and said, "Holy shit, where'd you get that?" And he had the receipt, so it cleared him of being any involvement in it. But for $2.07, but by the time that they got it, law enforcement had been washed, so any possible DNA or any evidence that was on it was gone. Question number 19. The 1985 unsolved murder of Susan Powell, not the one from Utah, occurred in which state? Yeah, another Susan Powell. Was it A, Alabama, B, Georgia, C, Florida, or D, Oregon? Question number 19 of 20. The 1985 unsolved murder of Susan Powell occurred in which state? You met my friendly Hispanic-looking man. That was my uncle. Will, have you heard of the Railroad Killer? Yes, I have, Reichart. I love Little Falls, beautiful small town. Sweet universe, my grandmother used to be the one-woman post office back in the 70s and 80s in Little Falls, Minnesota. That's long before what it's become now. I mean, Walmart is there, and freaking the town has changed. My grandmother used to live right next to Dairy Queen, right next to the hockey ring in the school. But she sadly passed now 6 years ago, I think. But she was the one woman post office for a lot of years. Then she went on retirement. She retired. And then as the town grew, they brought on more and more postal workers. But she spent her life working for the post office. I got family all up and down that area. Mankato, Monticello, Little Falls, Brainerd, International Falls, Dilworth, off by the Dakota border. Got family all over Minnesota and Wisconsin. He was from San Antonio, the railroad serial killer. So many of them are tourist towns now. Yeah, there are. My sister still lives up state Minnesota. My oldest sister, she lives in the Stacy, Minnesota area. But beautiful area. All right, question number 19. The correct answer is C as in cat, Florida. Florida. Question number 20. The unsolved murder, only known as the Trojan murder victim, took place in which city and state in 2017? Was it A, Los Angeles, California, B, New York City, New York, C, Chicago, Illinois, or D, Gainesville, Florida? Question number 20 of 20. The unsolved murder, only known as the Trojan murder victim, took place in which city and state in 2017? I had an amazing childhood, Gianna Marie. I mean, I had my setbacks and and bumps and bruises, I guess you could say. I lived a life. I wasn't pampered or protected. My day, consisted of going to school, and when there was no school, we left the house. We didn't come back until the street lights came on, and you drank from a garden hose. If you wanted something to drink, you didn't go back in and out of the house because that'd be getting your ass whooped. Denver, Colorado, says Reichart. E. Question number 20 of 20. Where did the Trojan murder victim case come from? Where did it happen? KQ B? Question mark? I don't know. Sweet Universe is going with B as well. Gianna Marie A. Purple is going with C. I got the switch for going in and out. LOL. Switch, belt, shoe. I used to spend my summers. So to be clear, I spent my summers, up in the Little Falls area, but we lived in Wisconsin. But I would spend the summers there. All right, question number 20. The correct answer is B as in boy. New York City, New York. Why is it called the Trojan murder victim? The case is called the Trojan murder victim because it is the third individual who was found murdered, and a Trojan condom still in the wrapper, unopened, was found on the body somewhere, but either on, in a pocket or a shirt or somewhere on the body itself. An unused Trojan, condom still in the wrapper was found. Again, this is the third confirmed one. The first one took place in 2017. They have no leads at this time other than the each and every one of the victims has the same body type, hair color. Obviously, they're all women, but same height and everything else. But they know they're a serial killer because, if it is the same person, because they were days apart, the first two, and then the third one was almost a month later. New York City, New York. Get a rope. Bonus question worth 2 points. What is the closest estimate on the total number of cold case murders in the U.S. as of 2025? Is it A, 1 million, B, 5 million, C, 325,000 to 340, or D, 110,000 to 200,000? Question bonus. What is the closest estimate on the total number of cold case murders in the U.S. in 2025? And I will explain a little bit more as soon as I tell you the answer. I think I would agree with you, Kirikou. It definitely taught me, right away, the difference between right and wrong. When with, my mother, or my grandmother or somebody, an adult who was in charge told me something, I definitely follow the damn rules. I mean, but I think I'm a better person today because of not only the upbringing but the morals, ethics, and work standard that I was born, and was displayed around me. And I hope that I'm doing justice for my son at the same time. All right. Bonus question. Again, this is worth 2 points if you got it correct. The the answer to the bonus question is C as in cat. 325,000 to 340 cases are considered cold cases of murder as of 2025. Every time I have ever asked this question or seen it, nobody ever gives it context. So here is the context. When the wild, wild west was happening and people were moving from the East Coast to the West Coast, we know that there were murders that took place. You know, pilgrim upon pilgrim, traveler on traveler. There were people that set up, and the different coastal towns on the West Coast just to steal everything and murder someone. You see these shootouts at the old Cape Corral, the Wild Wild West. Those do not count in the cold cases. The cold cases start at approximately 1990, 1900 and go forward from there. Now, in order to be a cold case, there must be a victim, obviously. There must be a perpetrator of the murder, and there must be, an understanding that there is a chance that you can solve the crime by figuring out who it is. Now, there are other murder cases out there where they know the individual who killed someone, and those are not considered a cold case. Maybe they just don't have that one piece of evidence in order to get an indictment against the individual. They're not in the cold case squads either, or the cold case files, and therefore contributing to the total number. It wasn't until the later part of the 1980s that law enforcement agencies and the federal government started to put an emphasis on going back through cold cases and looking at them with fresh eyes and trying to solve them. Yes, they did it in the 70s and the 60s and the 50s and the 40s and, blah, 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 going back. But it wasn't until, again, the 1980s, they started to put a real emphasis where larger police departments would have a department just for that. Individuals who worked homicide, then there were people who worked just cold cases. They didn't have to go out and write traffic tickets in the afternoon and then work cold cases in the evening. People worked just the cold cases, detectives. So that's why the number is always been in question, and why people think it's got to be way higher than that. All right. Now that you have some context to that. On tonight's trivia, I knew 18 of the 20 questions that were on tonight's trivia. 2 of them I still have questions about, and I've written them down because I'm going to look into them more. Particularly the Connecticut Valley murders. I had no idea that there were 7. Again, in my mind, and what brief reading I've done about the Connecticut Valley victims in the murders that took place there, I thought it was 9. In my mind, I thought it was 9 until I started to research it for this trivia, and then I found out it's 7. And the other 2 are listed as runaways, and they never found, anything, about those victims. They could have moved on to, another state, and changed their names, or living underneath an assumed name somewhere. Or maybe they fell, victim to another murder, and it's not the Connecticut Valley killer. That one in particular, I'm going to look into more. You got a C, says Kitty Q. Question of the week. I used to post these to YouTube, but YouTube, in their infinite wisdom, has decided that they are not, I can't post them to the community tab anymore because they violate the community guidelines, because they refuse to allow their stupid system. And and when it comes to something, if you write something on the community tab, it gets, the algorithm just cherry picks things from different creators and puts it out there, and then puts it on the community tab shelf with no context. So people were probably seeing these murdering questions or questions about crime who watch, crochet videos, or they were looking for dog grooming videos, and they were being served up this stuff. And of course they click on it and they're like, they automatically say that was inappropriate. I don't want to see that again. And then the algorithm's supposed to learn from that, but it doesn't. But apparently, again, it violates the community standards. No question this week, though. Got a question? I am only human, and if I made a mistake on this trivia, I would love to hear from you. And I will give you a shout out once I research it and I find, if I made the mistake, I'll give you a shout out. I did one last week for someone more clarification on the question. But you can reach me at the email that is right there in blue. Additionally, 100% of the trivia night subject matter, that are done here, like tonight's trivia, was viewer suggested, voted on by a poll. People suggested a bunch of them. I put them together in a poll and then asked everybody, which one do you want to see trivia on? Harmless self-promotion. Thank you for playing. Okay, before we wrap this up, if you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. I want to hear from you in the comment section if you're watching afterwards. But this coming Thursday is Thanksgiving here in America. I know it's not Thanksgiving in Canada and other places, okay? But here in America, it is Thanksgiving. I am doing a special trivia night on Thursday, Thanksgiving night, not at 4 p.m., but at 6 p.m. on Thanksgiving night. All of the questions are on why people, are adverse to wanting to gather for holidays with their families. There are only 15 questions, and it's put together kind of like trivia, Family Feud, in that trivia, format. You're only trying to get the number one answer. Everybody you don't have to come up with all, if the top 7 are on the board. You don't have to answer all 7. You just have to try to figure out what number 1 is. So guess at whatever you think the number 1 reason is for that question. It's not always, they're not all 7. Some of them are 5. Top 5 are on the board. But all of them, I give context to where the information comes from polls, or websites or psychology books. But again, that's Thursday night, Thanksgiving night at 6 p.m. We are still having our true crime trivia the following Sunday. This is just a bonus special trivia night, on Thanksgiving night. So if you have nothing else to do, or maybe after a couple hours of dealing with your family, you want to grab your cell phone and lock yourself in a closet somewhere and watch, a Family Feud kind of trivia night. We'll be doing it again at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is 9 p.m. on the Eastern Time Zone. And I don't know what that would be, in probably 2 o'clock in the morning in the UK. So, again, I hope that, a lot of people show up, because it definitely a lot of people answered and said that they wanted to do it. Now, I mentioned yesterday in Saturday morning's live stream that if a lot of people don't show up, I'm most likely not going to do it again. I mean, because there were a lot of people who said that they wanted it, and then they made, they offered up suggestions on what kind of questions they wanted to see, on it. So I really hope that they're there. I will still be adverse to doing it in the future if, like only 3 or 7 people show up. There's nothing like putting all this work into doing something, and then, the people who ask for it, by name, and I know who they are, don't show up for it. And I understand we all get busy, but what's the topic for next Sunday? Don't know yet, Bonnie. At that email address, 411nowbusiness@gmail.com. I'll put it on the screen here so you can see it again. Right there in blue, 411nowbusiness@gmail.com. Fire me off an email. Just say, Bonnie, what's trivia? And you don't even have to put anything in the email itself. Just put that in the title itself. And then I'll add you to the list of individuals that I send an email out every week for, to let people know what the trivia is. But I probably won't know what trivia night is going to be next Sunday until Tuesday of this week. Obviously, I have other things that I'm going to be doing, Bonnie, tomorrow, such as the pumpkins. I'm doing that tomorrow. So, now Family Feud edition. In a nutshell. I mean, I try to keep it to, they're 7 was the maximum. I didn't want 10, but Yeah, all you got to do, you get 2 minutes for each question. So the whole stream might go 40 minutes from start to end because there's no other, there's no missing people in there that I don't, missing endangered. It's just the questions and then the answers. 2 minutes. I read you the question, tell you how many possible, their top 7 or top 5, and then you get 2 minutes from that point to answer which one you think is the number one answer. That's all you're going for. And I'm worried that a lot of people are like, oh my God, it's 7. I have to type in 7 really quick. No, you're just trying to figure out what the number one answer is. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap up tonight's stream. Again, if you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. And if you're watching afterwards, I want to hear from you. Just say hello, Will, or whatever down in the comment section if you're watching afterwards. I need the interactions is what I'm asking for. All right. In the meantime, everyone, you all have a terrific week, and I hope to see you Thursday, if not next Sunday for next trivia night. You stay safe out there, and remember, as Purple always says, you never know who's going to be standing next to you next, and you never know who's going to be knocking at your door. Bye.